Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to today's episode. We have got a great one for you with my good friend, Mr. Jeremy Dinsmore from the Antler podcast. Jeremy lives in Pennsylvania, hunts several states, and this one is really, really enjoyable. We get into really the "Are you ready for season" kind of talk. Um, what you're going to need. Are you prepared mentally? Are you prepared physically? Is your gear ready? Are you putting in the reps? Lots of good stuff like that to consider, little things. But we also get into a little bit of deeper talk on the mindset of things, as far as, where's your head at for season in the beginning, mid, and the long season approach. So hang with us. This one's going to be great. I'm sure you guys are going to really enjoy it. I know I did. We've got a couple announcements. We've got the Whitetail Roadshow kicking off in Virginia this weekend. So make sure, hopefully, there's still some tickets available. There might not be. I'll have to check into that. But if you guys hear this, get online real quick. If you're around the Virginia area, make sure you're there and tell them we sent you. Next week, we will be in Iowa. I'll be there. So come see me if you guys are attending. I'd love to see you. I'll have some stickers with me and stuff. So looking forward to seeing y'all out there. And yeah, let's give a huge shout out to our sponsors that make this podcast possible. Osseo Gear. If you're looking for some new camo, you honestly cannot beat the price, the warranty, the quality, everything. In my opinion, it's the best camo out there. And make sure you use code RUNGUN20 at your checkout to save 20%. Huge thanks to our sponsor, Lone Wolf Custom Gear, Painted Arrow Outdoors, and Timberwolf Supply Company. Guys, make sure you're following each and every one of these companies, staying up to date with what's going on. We got a ton of new products coming and some new stuff coming down the line. Stay tuned for that. I'm working on getting a cool little, giveaway for our 3-year anniversary. I believe we already passed it, but I'm steadily working on that. So bear with me. Maybe be a Christmas in October again, like we did last year. So I'm definitely going to do that here soon. So stay tuned for details. We've got a really good quote, and then we're going to get into today's episode. This one's from Jim Rohn. Obviously, if you know me, you know I love me some good Jim Rohn quotes. Jim says on today, if it's easy, do it easy. If it's hard, do it hard. Just get it done. Hope you guys can take that approach into your season this year, and wishing you guys the best. Hopefully you got some giants to chase, and I know I got a couple great tags coming up. Got the Iowa tag, coveted Iowa tag, and I've also got a Kansas tag. So really excited to kick off season. I know Kansas starts on September 15th, and I'm anxiously waiting to make my way out there. But let's get into today's episode with my good buddy Jeremy. So what's up, Jeremy? Pleasure to see you again, man. I've missed. I know we've been talking about doing this for a while. It's good to have you on, man. What's going on?
Hell yeah, Justin, man. Good to see you as well. It's definitely been a long time coming since I actually looked at my Riverside platform and studio, and I saw I still had yours in there from March of 2024. So it's been a while since we recorded an episode, and life has taken us in so many different directions and busyness and all kinds of good stuff. So I'm pumped that we could do a little publication with this episode, just because we're helping each other out on that side of things. And I appreciate your time. I know you're a busy dude. I'm a busy guy as well, with the family and work and everything along those lines. So man, I appreciate you taking the time out this evening, having
Oh,
me on,
hey,
and you doing it as well.
likewise, man. I'm glad we can kind of help each other out. Like I said, I've been having some scheduling conflicts lately. It's been like one after another. So thank God last week I had one kind of in the bank, and that was a good thing. But now I'm like, life's just crazy right now, man. I picked up this new job. So, we moved out here to Iowa. I've been here for a month now, like maybe 5 weeks this week, but yeah, I'll stop counting the weeks after this. But dude, we absolutely love it. It's been amazing. I couldn't be more thankful for where we are and the people here, and it's just a whole awesome vibe in itself. Iowa's excellent. Like, Iowa nice is a real thing. Like, I have yet to meet like kind of like just mean people. Everybody
Yeah.
here is insanely nice. So
I gotta
But
ask you,
yeah,
dude, like what's that? Because we were just talking about our kids real quick before we hit the record button. How are they handling it and all that kind of stuff? Just because I mean that's because you left Kentucky, correct?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so Kentucky and along those lines. So was it a did they care, or are they at that age where it's still like they adjust so freaking quick? They're like rubber bands.
Oh my God, dude. I couldn't have done it better. Honestly, Jeremy, it was like I couldn't have done it better. So
Yeah.
we bought what we did. We sold our place in Kentucky. We lived in the middle of nowhere. We had no neighbors, nothing, which like is great for me, but it's terrible for the kids, right?
Hmm.
And like me and my wife loved it, and everybody else, all my friends loved it. They were like, "Oh my God, this place is amazing," and it was. I'm not trying to like just about, oh, our Kentucky place was terrible. Um, I loved it, but at the same time, I realized like how happy my kids are now versus then. So we moved into a townhouse. We've got tons of neighbors. We've got like, we live in an area where there's like another row of homes next to us. And yeah, the kids are never here. They're always playing. Like, I mean,
That's
all the
great.
way through to the dark. It's like pulling teeth to get them to come in and eat dinner. I feel like I never see them. But yeah, they're extremely happy. My wife's really happy. They're kind of out of her hair, like they used to be on their tablets or, this or that, and which like I'm not a fan of at all, and neither is she. But I mean, she really didn't have any options, man. She works
Right.
from home. So, she had to do everything. And it's a lot better on both of us. Like, I'm out of the house. Like, I do wish that I was spending more time with them. Today, this morning, I kind of touched on it. Like, I don't know if you saw my
Yeah, I
Instagram
did.
story or whatever, but yeah, man, like I started waking up at 5 and it's been awesome. Like,
Yeah.
I used to work out in the mornings, but like, I didn't have to rush to wake up. I'd wake up at like 7:30 and go, work out and fill in my day from there, create my own schedule. I used to own a handyman business. So doing that was good, but like I've got way more structure now, and like I've got this chaotic schedule where I'm leaving at 7 and I'm not home till like 5:30. So um now like if I want to get my workout routine in, like I've got to go to the gym in the morning if I want that family time. So I
Hmm.
was just kind of hoping to like encourage some people, that are kind of going through the same thing. It's like, hey, man, it's worth it.
Yeah.
No, do I want to wake up at 5? No, but it's really not that bad if I'm going to be
Dude,
honest, and it's
it,
worth it.
dude, I good for you on all fronts. Obviously, letting building that family environment with the kids, and I mean, how awesome is it that we could sit here and you're complaining, and in quote, I don't want to say complaining, but you're sitting there saying, "Man, I didn't see my kids because they're out playing with the other neighborhood." I mean, shit, dude, like. Think about when we were growing up. I mean, it was at least I could speak for myself. As soon as that sunlight hit and I was finally up and at 'em, I'm on my bike. I'm at my friend's house. I scrummaged like $3 that hopefully could buy me a Snapple and a beef jerky at the local, gas
Yeah,
station that we would ride our bikes to and play basketball, go into like jump in the lake, go on those trails, cause trouble, stop at so and so's house. I mean, I don't see that very often, and you don't hear about it very often. So number one, dude, congrats that the kids are doing that, because I'm sure what a sigh of relief too, like you said, for your wife and for yourself to, to manage that, because dude, it gets a lot. And I totally get that. And the other side of it for yourself, man, for getting up at 5 a.m. And like, I'm coming from a 180 where I have an 11-year-old that is about to start middle school and a 1.5-year-old. So
Ooh,
like I got the monster gap, dude. And then in the summertime, I'm a teacher. I don't work. My wife is also a teacher. She doesn't work, but we have like that routine of like getting things done around the house, and uh we might be going to do something, anything along those lines. And quite frankly, like I'm a huge help because of certain things in my family, what we have to conquer. And that has also made me get up at 5 o'clock. to get a workout in and do the gym. I'm lucky enough that I have a really nice garage gym that I don't have to go far. So it's like, oh, well, then why can't you go in the middle of the day? Well, because I'm with one of the kids and
Yeah.
or all of them together. So it's like you said, man, it's like that sacrifice because I'd rather I'd rather I'd rather myself be done with everything that I personally need to do rather than, like, for example, let's use today. If I didn't get up and work out at 5 a.m. today and I decided to let my wife guard, I shouldn't say guard, but like watch the girls, do something with them, I'm missing out on that time. And then we're maybe together for a little bit. They had some things to do, I had some things to do. Then we come back, we had the middle school orientation, and then now we're spending time together doing this. And yeah, baby's asleep, but my daughter's doing something, so we're away from our kids right now. When would I have spent time with them if I didn't get that workout in? Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So it's
No,
like,
100%. It's very hard. And
yeah,
I don't think people understand, like, as, both of us being podcasters, like the amount of like mental like stress maybe it is for us to, fulfill all these jobs that we have kind of,
mm-hmm,
like I do love doing this. I'm not trying to kind of make it out like it's a job, but in a sense it is. Like you
yeah,
have to set time to record, you have to set time to, schedule with people, and then, you have kind of
edit,
what happened this week with just like and it happens. People are
yep,
busy. People, it is what it is. I totally understand it. But yeah, man, like I think that's just part of maturity. Like you
yep,
gotta, if you want to fulfill your goals, it's no the hunting and side of things. It's the same thing. Like you got to make time.
yep.
Otherwise, if you're not in control of your schedule, then your schedule's in control of you. So,
Right. And
um,
I think too what you said about we're man, I think we're a weird breed because, and I think it goes in any subject matter that you are doing something out on your own, right? Whether you're running your own business, I'll go on here and say, like, doing a podcast is like your own little mini business, whether you got an LLC or not, right? Like I feel like because you want to do something. So at the same time, when you're doing this, you want to do good for yourself and put something like quality out there. Like we have something internally in us that is basically saying we want something good out of this, right? Whether it be like you're like you versus you to prove it to yourself you're capable of something like larger than yourself, and then like getting information out there to the masses, to people. I mean, shoot, man, like that's the crazy thing. So it's like because like when you have those doubts, and which I've had, and I've had them a lot more so recently than ever, um about continuation, and then it's like you have these moments of maybe ideas and so forth, but it's like, do I want my daughter to be like, "Oh, daddy quit his podcast." And like, but like, if what that day when I know I will close up shop, I want there to be like an understanding as to why. Like maybe it's just I grew out of it, right? Like it, and that's okay. I don't want her to look at it or me be like, I quit because it was whatever anymore. Like I want
yeah,
to be one of the day I hang it up, I want to be able
yeah.
to like be okay with it and
I
just
didn't
know
quit
like,
because it was hard. I quit
right.
because it was time. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's terrible we're talking about quitting podcasts. I'm not trying to say neither. I don't think
Right.
either of us are trying to quit.
No, no.
But no, you're so right, man. And it's like, but I think I know you well enough, Jeremy. I know we're not like extremely close, but I do know you well enough to know that like we definitely have a drive to do it, and we have really busy schedules, and our family is our number one priority over
Yep.
everything. So
Yep.
that's one of the big things I really like about you, man, is like I feel
Appreciate
like
that,
you
dude.
and I are very one and the same with that. And
Yeah.
August is honestly the most stressful time for me because, all right, so I just went to Lexington, Kentucky last weekend, right? I was away from the family. This weekend I'm hanging out with them. Next weekend I'm going to the road show, the Whitetail Road Show in Iowa. It's only 3 hours away, but I'm going to spend the night there,
Right.
and then I'm away for 2 days. And then deer season kicks off. And then I'm like, now I'm working all the time. And then when am I going to have time to hunt? I haven't even had time to go put cameras out yet here in Iowa, which I'm okay with. I am
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I just moved here. I've got some good plans. I plan on scouting and putting cameras out, and I know the opener here opens in like October. I won't even be able to hunt till like October 10th or so until I can draw an Iowa tag. You have to be a resident here for 90 days if you didn't know.
Oh,
And
okay. I was going to ask you that. What
yeah,
was that?
yeah.
Yeah.
So I will be able to hunt. And what I plan on doing, man, is just like putting all this stuff that I talk about on the podcast to work.
Yeah.
Like, no, you don't have, like, it's a great tool. Don't get me wrong, but like, I want to use my woodsmanship, and I can't wait to like kill a great deer off of just that and not the cameras. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when I was younger, I was always on good deer. I never used a camera ever. So it doesn't bother me. It is what it is. It's just, it's the time of the season. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like as far as like my life, and I'm not going to stress myself out over things that I can't control, because
Right.
I need to work, and I need to be with my family, and I need to make sure they're happy, because especially right now, because the
Yeah.
season's about to kick off.
Yep.
So, which brings us to kind of like what we planned on talking about was like, are you ready for season? And, you know, kind of like a checklist kind of deal, and, you know, and touch on everything else, man. Like what's going on this year for you. I know you hunt out of state, right? You
Yep.
on Ohio.
Yep.
Yeah. So just like kind of remembering from previous
Yeah.
conversations.
And
So,
we'll be going to your home state too again.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Coming to Iowa?
Well, no, not that home state. Your original,
Maryland.
like, yeah, Maryland. There you go.
Okay. Well, that's
That
cool.
hopefully Iowa's next year. That's the
That's
plan.
awesome, dude. Well,
Yeah.
if you come out here, what zone are you thinking about trying to get?
Honest to goodness, man, just because it's always been on the back burner of like knowing I'm not going to pull it, I've never really dissected it. Whereas like now, I think like honestly, dude, like January 1's going to hit, and my focus is going to be like, all right, where can I? Because I know I had enough points to pull the last 2 years. I just
Okay.
financially and other obligations, I just knew it wasn't in the cards, and I didn't want to ever half-ass that first trip out there and wait another 3-4 years basically.
Yeah.
So I'm not positive. I know I've had a couple of people tell me like southern Iowa
Yeah. So like
maybe.
zone 5 or zone 6, or
Yeah,
they're
probably.
like the best zones, I would say.
Yeah.
I mean, realistically, like anywhere in the state
I,
holds great deer. It
yeah.
does. Like it's just,
Yeah.
especially from you coming from Pennsylvania, dude, you're gonna be stoked. So,
Well, that's what,
but
like,
dude,
even like
go
going
ahead.
back to what you were saying about your story for this year, like, dude, the buck this year that you will wrap your hands around, like on those antlers, that buck is going to have such a wonderful meaning to
Oh
you.
my God, I
I
know.
c-
I've already
like
thought about it. Like
I
I'm probably
can't
gonna
wait to
cry.
hear. Yeah, like I
No,
can't
I
wait to
mean,
hear
not to
that.
sound, yeah.
I can't wait to hear
It's
that,
gonna
man.
mean so much, because I've been through a lot, man. That move was a lot on me.
Yeah,
It was very hard. I second guessed myself. Am I doing the right thing? Am I being selfish? Am I this? Am I that? You know, everyone's like, oh, you're just going out there for deer. It's not just about that. And
yeah,
I'm being extremely honest when I say that it was not just about the deer. We wanted to move out west, and I told her, I'm like, I don't think you're going to be happy living way out west, honestly, like cuz the winters are just so long. And I
mhm,
know, like, you know, we enjoy the summer. So I was like, you know what? I feel like maybe we should move to the Midwest. And then we started like, well, I don't want to live in Illinois. Missouri, like, I don't know. I know Missouri's a great state, but if we're going to do the move, we may as well go to Iowa. And she was like, all right, let's go. So she's very understanding. Like, Kentucky was really tough on me mentally, man. I had to grind so hard every single year. And it was just
mhm,
like pitfall after pitfall. And I would scratch and claw my way to find the deer that I would look for. And then finally, like, I would get close to them, and then rifle season comes in, like right at the prime time during bow season.
crazy.
Yeah, our rifle came in at November 9th, like, and just last year, like a majority of my hit listers were killed on opening day. So I had to
Oof.
like start over and rebound. And I was just like, man, you know, whatever. I'm going to go with, you know, the first mature deer that gives me a shot. So that's what I
Mhm.
did. And I was stoked. It did mean a lot. And I was super fired up. So it is what it is, man. Season
Yeah,
is a roller coaster. I've really grown a lot from going through all these past seasons of struggles and just understanding that the season is a marathon, not a sprint. And I hope all you guys listening can really take something from that, because you might see, like, don't be jaded by Instagram or Facebook, seeing all your
100%.
buddies slam big deer after big deer. Like, your time's coming if you're putting in the effort. Like, it is what it is. You know, if you put in enough time and you're scouting, like, you'll get your chance. I feel like every year I look at every season, like, I'm going to get at least one opportunity at a good deer. Whether I kill it or not is, like, up to me. So that's what brings me to the preparation factor, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I know both of us, you know, love archery. We practice a lot. I feel like that's kind of like beating a dead horse. Like, obviously, guys, like, be out there practicing. But the other side of things, you know, is the mental preparedness. Like, are you, like, for me especially, like, what if I actually do have the biggest deer I've ever seen in my life come in this year? You know what I mean? It's like, I'm not used to seeing 160s all the time. I'm really not.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, like, that's the other side of me. It's like, okay, like, you may actually run into, like, a giant deer, and are you mentally ready for that? You know, are you,
Right.
the process and everything else that goes into that. But where do you want to get started, man? What's your thoughts?
Let's go there. Let's talk about like where we are at mentally, I guess going into the season. I think that's a really good starting point, just because, like you said, our the archery side of things, I mean, just like yourself, we do practice a lot, and I think there's things right now, which I know you being a big gear guy yourself, to tag along on the bow side of things, the archery side of things, is like practicing now, especially. I mean, we're mid-August. We're getting down into some early season openers, like I told you, doing the Maryland opener, which is that first weekend in September. Like, now's the time. If you haven't done it already, like, spend some evenings setting up your platform or your climber or your just whatever device you're using to hunt out of, and start repping some shots out of that, right? Like, so, like, start doing those things so that way you could start knowing where things are at. I'm a saddle hunter guy, so where those ropes are, where are things going in your backpack, practice that. So don't let night one or the night prior to that be the first time you're really start fidgeting with that type of stuff. Especially too, like, guys that want to start self-filming and doing that stuff, like, it's a process. It's not something that you're like, oh yeah, I got a camera arm, it's easy, I'm going to throw it in my bag, and then tomorrow morning or tomorrow evening I'm going to go in a little bit earlier and start setting up. Like, that's not probably a good idea.
Yeah.
Like, practice that now.
I'm so glad you touched on that, because I bought a new camera and I need to buy a new VariZoom. So
Yep.
completely didn't even think about that. So, I already said to myself when I was, like, kind of brainstorming on the way home today about this, I was like, I'm sure there's going to be something that one of us talk about that's going to be like, oh, I need that,
Yep.
so get your notebooks out, guys, listening to this, and jot down some good stuff that you might really need. This is, like, in all honesty, this is the last kind of minute that you really have to do that kind of stuff. You got
And
2
do it
weeks
too.
to,
Do it right now, because a
yeah,
lot of this stuff there, you're going to have guys that do forget, which is totally fine. But you make sure the whatever you want to buy is in stock, because the last
yeah,
thing you want is like, we're sold out.
yeah,
We don't know when we're going to get it. Like, that's
right.
going to suck.
Yeah. I always try to, like, touch on that, like, around March. It's like, what do you need in your setup?
Yeah.
What did you, like, not have that you needed, and, like,
Mhm.
get that now, because you never know. Could have a 4-month lead time or whatever,
Yep.
And so I switched up this year, and I went to the 8 millimeter rope instead
Okay.
of, like, a 10 millimeter. So
Hmm.
I got one of the Kongs, which is new
Okay.
to me. And
Hmm.
guess what? My carabiner that I've used for the past 5 years does not fit in that Kong. So I got to buy another carabiner that fits better.
Yep. You gotta get
Just
that one
little
guy.
stuff, the
Yeah.
little stuff like that. And in all honesty, that thing's kind of, like, noisy. So I got to figure out some way to quiet that up a little bit.
Yeah, you just look online. There's definitely that stealth strip stuff. There are ways that you could do that.
Yeah.
Um, uh, I shouldn't probably say it, but I still use my Roteman 1 with my 8 mil, even though it's
Yeah.
like
Oh, you
rated
do?
not. Yeah. I
Okay.
mean, I've been doing it the
That's
last couple of
interesting.
years. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I've had no issues. I think it's more of like an insurance thing that they didn't want to pay for. You know what I mean? Because it probably was like,
Mhm.
well, for another $100,000, you could go down to that, but you don't want to. But yeah,
Gotcha.
I definitely hang from a 8 or a Roteman 1 on the 8 mils. I'm totally fine. I
Cool.
mean,
Well, thanks for the
I'm
heads up.
I'm 184 pounds in the morning, butt ass naked. So with some clothes on, I'm probably pushing 190, especially hunting clothes. And after a couple weeks of the season, for sure in the 190s usually. But yeah, so definitely do that stuff. Get things taken care of now, man, because my
Yeah.
first year, which was 6 years ago, when I did my first saddle hunt, for opening season, like typical individuals listening, you probably get up that first morning and still want to go out just because it's that opening day excitement, right? And I practice religiously because from where I was day one of getting set up in a tree, I remember swinging from the side going, oh my gosh, why did I sell everything of what I own for this? Because I don't know, like, I didn't know what I was doing. I watched videos, all that type of stuff. And then I started getting the hang of it and absolutely like fell in love with it and understood how to maneuver and all that jazz. And I remember opening day, I was self-filming, and I remember looking at the camera going, I am so happy that I practiced as much as I did because my morning setup went flawlessly. You know what I mean? And it just got
Yeah.
better as the season progressed. So,
Yeah, for
it,
sure.
just no
You
matter
definitely
what.
get, there's definitely a dial in factor.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it takes you like
Yeah.
maybe 5 or 6 hunts until you're like, all right, this is
Yeah.
like second nature, you know?
Yeah. So no matter what style you're doing, practice it, be ready for it, because like you said, man, like you never know when something's gonna happen. Like it could be you could be on that buck early season and get in close to the bedroom, and there you go. And are you mentally, are you physically prepared with your stuff, and are you mentally prepared to go ahead and execute that?
Yeah. Now, and another thing with like, the self filming stuff is like really practice with that. If it's your first year going for self
Yeah.
filming, like I highly, highly advise you to even practice with a 3D target and like just get the motions down and know what you're going to do with your hands. Because like everything goes south when a deer comes in, especially when it's your first time doing something with it. And I highly suggest, like, for me, like I've done, if you guys ever want to go back and look at some videos I've done, I went from using a mirrorless camera to using I went to a handy cam this year,
Yep.
like back to a handy cam. So I started with, and I used the Very Zoom, which is just something so I can use my right hand. I'm a right-handed shooter, so I got my bow in my left hand, camera in the right, and I use the thumb portion to zoom in and out, and then I can hit the record button with the thumb.
Yep.
So, and it also has a light when it's recording. So there's no reason for you not to know if you're recording or not. So
I was about to say, make sure you're not double tapping.
that's right. That's right. And it's happened to a lot of people I know. So
Yeah.
yeah, just being familiar with your setups is huge. And then, something else to kind of like bring into the picture is like, what's your plan? There's a lot that goes into why and where, what's the wind going to do? Do you have a plan for a north wind, or, what happens if a south wind's coming in? Like being mobile is great for those kind of situations, but you know, if you're a hunter that's got like a pre-hung set or something, like, well, you might want to be prepared to, if you've got a deer coming in and he's doing the same thing, like, well, maybe you want to have an option, so
Right.
now's a great time. If you got a few weeks, you can go into there to your setup and look around for another tree option. I think that's a really beneficial thing. Having a plan A and a plan B can really help you.
Let me ask you this, dude, because what you were saying, because you're a great example for this. You just moved, you haven't really been in the woods, uh, have not done a ton of scouting. For an individual that life has taken over, right? Let's go back from January, maybe working, doing different things, family, just hasn't had the opportunity to really get out there to do postseason scouting when the time is ripe for that, right? Um, so but the season is closely approaching, and they're like, oh man, I do have time now to go out and scout, and I will have a little bit more time to hunt than I thought originally. Do you still see some really good value out of individuals getting out now to lead into the hunting season for scouting?
I mean, yeah, it's situational, but I think the older that I've gotten, the more that I've uh, kind of not put as much salt into summer scouting because they always
Mm-hmm.
seem to shift.
Yep.
Um, so like for me, it's like, especially now with, Kentucky opener was totally different because you're hunting deer on their summer patterns. Here in, Iowa, like it be, sorry,
No, you're good, man.
it being opening in October, like they're going to be on a totally different pattern. So
Mm-hmm.
my focus here, especially, is like I want to go like this weekend. I told the wife, I'm like, I want to spend Saturday morning. I'm going to wake up early, and I'm going to go put boots on the ground in a lot of places and come back in the afternoon. And I'm going to bring cameras with me, but like in all honesty, I just want to make a bunch of scrapes in certain areas that feel like, sexy or attractive to me that are going to be fall ranges. So,
Yeah, I like that.
that everything kind of changes around September. So you're going to not only, it's not a big deal if you're not prepared right now. Like don't worry about it. Kind of get prepared for the fall. Go in the woods and look at those like tight little transition zones and like funnels and stuff like that. Like let's be honest, most of us are going to spend a majority of our time hunting during, the late October to November period anyway. So,
Right.
I'm not saying to like avoid early season. That's not where I'm going with this. But if you're able to get out, like here's a huge factor. If you're able to get out and glass, if you're in an area where you can glass, that's the same thing as scouting. If you're able to, get on your Onyx and look at pinches, that's scouting.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no reason for anybody to not be putting some kind of effort into their season. Like that's really where my focus has been when I have free time is like, where do I want to spend my time scouting at? Like
Yeah.
what are good areas? What are not good areas? So I've been going out and driving to new pieces of public and kind of trying to scope them out and see what's actually there versus what's on Onyx. And
Right.
then kind of like, okay, well, I've got 3 really good locations from what I feel like. And then I'm going to put boots on the ground in those areas and make sure what I'm thinking on Onyx is actually reality.
Yeah. No, those are all great points. And I think that's the one aspect that I've recently, well, I should say recently, but like I've put a lot of stock in the last couple of years is when, more I hunt, put it this way, from central Pennsylvania is where my family resides. I hunt a lot in Northeast PA. And so central here to me on the public land side of things, I I still dabble with some scouting here and there just to maybe go for a walk or put a ruck in and put a camera or two out. But the last 2 years, I haven't put a lot of time in postseason scouting because I know I'm not spending a lot of time here. However, I do like to know if where does are. If I don't feel like traveling on the weekend or I can't make it for the weekend, but I can hunt one day type of ordeal, I can maybe go and know, okay, hey, this could be a really good doe spot if it's a mid October or if it's after work, I have an opportunity to hunt something along those lines. I like to have those little mini options in my back pocket. And what I've done is what you just said, man, was thinking about using past history of what I've really have found success in. And like you said, deer are going to be start moving, they're changing their patterns, all that type of stuff. So I'm like, okay, if I know that middle October time frame, or if there's like a scrape that just seems the old history or just things look like, it could be going off around that time frame, that's where I'm hanging a camera. That's where I know maybe early on you may not, but that, in a couple weeks later, that's when it's going to be, you have those opportunities. And a couple of years ago, dude, I did a ton of that where um I I did a lot of postseason scouting in one spot, threw a couple cameras up and let them soak all year, basically. But man, I found one spot where I remember being in there and going, man, depending if their food is here in the early season, I could see this being a really good potential, you know, a lot of deer activity spot. So it was like one of our first cold fronts, and I just remember I was like, I'm going out. I'm going to go to that spot where I saw a bunch of scrapes, and I know from going out there, like the week prior just to glass to see what acorn the crop was, and it was just insane. It's like, I just think early season, it might rain on Saturday. That might be the spot. And like my mind was like, first deer that's like doe or a good buck, I was gonna whack. And it was like that first non-first day, so it was like that, what would that be, technically your second Saturday of the season, but first full weekend. And after that little light rain, big pile of does come right up over the hill and feeding on some acorns, and put a perfect shot on a doe and had to drag her way too far. And that's why I told myself I'm done doing that shit.
Yeah.
But it played exactly out the way I envisioned it a couple months prior. So like the whole, would I have hunted there if the acorn drop was there? No, I wouldn't have. I
Right.
100% wouldn't have. Just because, but knowing I had that acorn, I knew what was in that area. That's why I went there and hunted there. But that just goes to show you. But again, that was a little bit postseason, but also then like early season, getting in there and seeing that crop.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I think, one of the obvious things, like if you find previous scrapes, like in the summertime, if you are able to go out right now, look for branches that are curled up. Look at, like that kind of stuff. Don't just be looking on the ground for, dirt that's, that was there from last year. Like look at the trees. Like if you see a low hanging branch and you see that thing's all branches, or, branches are missing on it, and, it's all curled up, there's a good chance they're going to hit that scrape again. So that would be something that I would be looking for. But I think really like here, my shift in mindset has been access.
Okay.
Where am I going to go? All my local buddies have talked about how much pressure all the public gets during the rut here. So I'm going to be super, super keyed in on like limited access areas, like, or water access, or like getting to places that are, creative, and maybe it might take me a little bit longer to get in there, but I could bet that like if there are other people in that area, they're going to push deer into where I am. So that's where my mindset's at with, what I'm trying to scout on 1X. Like, okay, I can park here. I'm going to take my kayak. I'm going to drift into this spot, and then I should be in a great area. And then, those are going to be places that I'm going to go in completely blind, and maybe just go in earlier in the morning, like say 10 o'clock even, and scout my way in and hunt a long afternoon sit, and then come back the following morning and hunt it like that. Right. That's the kind of stuff that you need to be doing. Like if you can go out and spend a whole weekend, like, even if it's close to home, try to hunt that Saturday, evening, scout Saturday afternoon, hunt that fresh sign. If you don't see what you see in the evening, hunt there in the morning. If you don't see what you see in the morning, get down 9:30, 10 o'clock and push a little bit deeper and go from there. And that's really a great approach. I think, way too many of us are way over concerned with getting pictures of deer, when in all honesty, I think a lot of these big mature deer are very aware of trail cameras. And by the time you go in, scout, do your thing, put your camera out, and the deer comes through that you're looking for, he's got your number. Like he's like, oh, okay, well that wasn't there, like, so I think that a lot of these really mature deer on public in Iowa are really keyed into that. Cause let's face it, if you want to come here, Jeremy, like in a year or 2 years, I would put money on it, you're going to come out in the summer and put cameras out, right?
Yeah,
Like,
I would hope.
yeah,
That's
because I mean, like
just I want to see. You want to see, right?
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not kind of throwing shame. I'm just saying it's the reality. Like all these guys are putting in time to scout and put cameras out and do all this. So for me at this time frame, if I go into an area and I find cameras, like, okay, there's hunter sign in here.
Right.
I want to find places that don't have that. And
Correct.
that's kind of my approach for the season. Plus, I kind of left out, I got a Kansas tag. So September 15th, I am going to go in completely blind and hunt some public in Kansas. And I'm going to use that as a scouting mission too. And I'm going to put cameras out for the rut. So Lord willing, I can kill one earlier here in, the rut here. And then I can shift, because I'm extremely close to Kansas, dude. It's only the area that I'm hunting is only 3 hours away. So I know I could jet off from work early and go spend a whole weekend there and come back, Sunday evening.
Right.
So that's a whole nother, animal to kind of tackle. And, I'm really fortunate, man. Like, you got to have a good wife, but, I've been doing my best to like really make her happy and like make sure, she's taken care of and, we get our time. And that's kind of, I'm going to be honest, I'm kind of lacking in that area right now, but,
Yeah.
I'm working on that. Just joined a Facebook group for, local college kids that want to, babysit. So
Nice.
yeah,
I like that.
yeah.
That's
Put
awesome.
that on your to-do list, guys. Make sure you're, making the
Get
wife
that
happy. And
honey-do list taken care
yeah,
of. That is that.
100%. That's
Yeah.
that's the real chores that you got to take care of. The scouting's fun, but those are the things. And I'm not saying I don't have fun with my wife. I wasn't trying to get
I
at
know
that,
what
but
you're saying,
yeah,
dude.
but you know what
Nothing,
I mean.
nothing kills the friggin' mood at deer camp more so than when you get, what time you coming home? When can I expect you? You can expect me when I open up the f***ing door. Like,
Yeah,
oh
dark.
man, it's
Yeah,
tough. It's
yeah.
tough.
I know it is. It's an obsession, and my wife knew from the very beginning. Since we started dating, it's like like I thought that the fire was hot then, man. Like she's like, "You're really gonna become like an animal out here, aren't you?" And I'm like, I can imagine if I get like a booner on camera or something out here, like what's
Yeah.
gonna do to me. But yeah, I don't know, man. I just want to have fun,
Well, that leads.
I'm really at that point in my life. Like
Mhm.
I've had so many stressful seasons that I've ruined it, and I've ruined the enjoyment of hunting for myself because I'm so worried about the outcome and not the process.
Right. And that just leads us into that perfect segue into the mindset, dude. I mean, um, I love how you just said like you want to just have fun again, and you think back to those early days before you got like, and I'm saying you as yourself because you shot some friggin' awesome deer, man, and some that I call booners, and I think back to those times when I just was just having fun. I hate to say the term like just killing deer, but like how just having fun hunting. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And like that aspect of filling a tag and doing all that stuff just was just so much fun. And when you start not having fun and when you start putting pressure on yourself, like what we were saying earlier, I was going to say about like guys that like really are pushing hard and doing so much, and you're saying your time will come, and you have that moment. And I love what you said, either you might have that one moment, and whether you might have the shot opportunity or you may not, man, I know in the moment at the time it's so hard to think this way, but once your season is over and you could go back and replay that, you learn something from that moment. And I know in the moment it sucks because you're like, dang it, I didn't get that shot opportunity, that was my one opportunity, type of ordeal, and it sucks at that point in time. But man, I'm telling you, when you could go back and be more positive and mindful thinking in that side of things, of taking what you learned throughout the season, and even then taking what didn't work, what did work, and then possibly some of those in moment situations that you could take away, dude, you're going to learn so much about not only deer hunting but about yourself that you
Yeah.
could then
Amen. Amen.
you
I
could
love
then
that.
put into so much more. Because I still say my 1 year, so in 2 years, dude, 1 year I had more encounters with good bucks here in PA than ever before, and I did not get a chance to draw my bow back on it. And I didn't fill my buck tag that year, but I still will say that is my most successful year to date, because all those years prior to that, I missed some good bucks, and I could have went on a good streak, quote unquote, with my bow, but I sucked at the time in the heat of the moment. And I'm just being honest, man, I sucked, and I worked hard. I had a good year then, and then I just kind of, I kind of went back to my old ways for like 2 years, and then that third year after that, again, I was like, I put in a lot of time scouting. I started putting more pieces of the puzzle together, and shit started clicking. I got better deer on camera. I got better deer on the stand, that type of stuff. And then the next year, I was so determined, dude. I went on a killing spree. In
Yeah.
2.5 weeks, I put 5 deer down, a buck and 4 doe here in PA, where I was donating to our free program here in PA because I was just, I had so much fun. And then the next year, like last year, I killed a buck in Ohio. I killed a buck here with the rifle in PA. Those years, I just went back to having fun. And that is the main gist. I mean, I can't tell you, like those years where I knew I was struggling after that year of I struggled a couple of years in a row. I had success, and then I struggled after that. Those couple years after that success point, it was because I put too much pressure on myself. It was, I started this
Yeah.
podcast. I was doing this. I was doing that with companies and blah, 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 all the bullshit. And it was like, once I focused on myself, my people around me who I hunt with, and just got back to the basics and having fun, dude, so much better things that happened, whether it was filling more tags or not. So much better, so much more better things happened, that it was just insane. And I think
swear.
just
Go ahead.
go
I didn't mean
into
to cut you off.
no, you're good. Just go into the season positive. I'm telling you, it will go a long freaking way.
It sure does. And I've said this several times, man, and I swear the deer can like just read your energy when you're in a bad mood and you're pissed off because you're not seeing deer. I don't know what it is, if it's just a frequency kind of deal or what it is, but man, when I'm calm and I'm enjoying myself and I'm not even worried about seeing deer, I'm just like, man, what a gorgeous, sunrise, or
Yep.
oh look at that, man, that's pretty cool. And then bam, like, oh, here comes a deer, and I don't know, you can reflect that back to life as well. I think that's one of my favorite things about hunting is like how many valuable life lessons you can take away from hunting in general. Like the fact that, one of my good buddies kind of like touched on it last time, but he's also a podcaster, Pierce Snells with the Wisconsin Sportsman. And he was like, man, I messaged you and you were like, oh, he was telling me to like, just keep going. And I'm like, dude, I'll never quit, like, and just that fact alone, like if you just refuse to quit, like good things are coming, whether it's in the middle of December or January, like it's the truth. I've been very fortunate, we're growing up in Maryland where we had 3 buck tags, and I've always hunted all the way to the very end, like all the way to January 31st. And I mean, I even killed a good buck on the very last day of season, and I pulled his antlers off his head. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, it's just the fact of the matter. Like, I think, kind of not to like bring religion into this, but I feel like God just kind of almost tests us sometimes with our patience factor, and like he's willing to give you a reward for the work that you're putting in. And you just have to see it that way. And it's like you throwing in the towel is a sure way to make sure you don't fill your tags, and you being in a terrible mood is not going to help your cause whatsoever. So,
and it goes back to like your core group too. Like that includes your family, that includes your friends, your close friends, and like just your support system. Because man, like nothing, like my wife does this trick where she says to my oldest daughter, like, okay, say this out loud. I'm mad at my mom and dad because they want me to brush my teeth before bed. Right. You know what I mean? Right. Just like, she makes her,
I like that. I'm going to use that.
Yeah. Like I'm mad at my mom and dad because they won't let me, whatever it be, and you could sit there and do the same thing for yourself. Like I'm sitting here sulking. I'm mad because I went on Instagram and saw people with a nice buck. What?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so like,
no, and that's never going to change, guys. I don't care who you are or what's going on. Like, people are just going to be slaying good deer. And if you let that get to your head, like, then you're already in trouble, and you need to be happy for other people. There's way too much like animosity with like, oh, this guy, oh, he always kills deer. You don't know what his circumstance is. You don't know, like some of these people don't even work, man. They just hunt all the time. And like, how does a normal working class guy like compete with that? You know what I mean? Everybody's got their own set of problems, their own set of scenarios. And who are you to judge anybody,
Cause here's the thing. And dude, here's the thing. You kill a great buck in Iowa. I'm going to shoot you a text. I'm going to congratulate you. And I'm going to write on your probably your Instagram post, like awesome deer, give you a little fist pump, all that stuff. But man, I'm stoked for you. I know there's an amazing story behind it and I can't wait. But dude, I'm not going to be sitting there. I might tell my wife, oh man, a good buddy of mine killed. But then after that, it's out of my mind.
Yeah.
right?
And
Like
your wife don't care because
she
she's
don't
just
give a
like,
shit.
yeah,
You
no.
know?
And I know this is a total of regurgitated fact, but nobody really gives a shit, man,
Nope.
in all honesty. So why are you going to let somebody else killing a deer bother you? That's the
Yep.
way,
Yep.
great way to look at it,
Yep.
But another thing I really wanted to touch on that you kind of touched on a little bit is make sure you've got a really good friend that shares the same passion you do,
Mhm.
that's got a good mindset, that's somebody that you kind of respect and is willing to set you straight and tell you the things that you need to hear, whether you want to hear them or not. We all need to have those friends, like, because it's very easy to get down on ourselves. I'm terrible. I haven't seen a deer in 10 days. I haven't seen a good buck all season. Blah, 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 blah. Guess what? I mean, you like, I'm not putting myself on a pedestal. You can look through my Instagram. Yeah, I've killed tons of great deer. Dude, I don't see that many big deer, like I really don't. Like it's a grind. Like it's a grind for everybody. And I had so much more time in Kentucky than I'm going to have this season, but it's not a big deal. It is what it is. Hunting is supposed to be fun. And if it starts to overweigh, if the stress becomes more than the joy, then like you really need to get control of yourself,
Yep.
because you're not promised tomorrow. And I want you guys to really focus on just enjoying this season and enjoying your time out there, and make sure that you set time to go spend like a deer camp, or like take one of your friends. Like I'm very guilty of that. Like that I
Right.
am, that kind of lone hunter where I do that a lot, and I'm by myself all the time, and it's so much more fun to share, a hunt with somebody. Throw away a day or so and go get in a tree with one of your good buddies and cut it up with them. And it, I can promise you, even if you guys don't see a deer, you're still going to enjoy yourselves.
Mm.
So,
Yep.
think about that, man. Like now's a great time. You got a good friend of yours that's ate up with hunting like you. Make sure you put something on the calendar and you stick to it. I've always been huge on setting dates, because it's way easier to get permission if you've told the old lady 2 or 3 months in advance, like November 8th, I'm going to go for 4 days with, such and such. And instead of being like, hey, hon, do you care, like, if I jet out for 4 days and, like
Yeah.
next week, or no, that's probably a good way to get like, some grumpy phone calls. Um,
Share that Google calendar. I mean, I'm telling you right now, when you put it on right now and you see November 6th through whatever it be, and it says Ohio and dad on it, there's no coming up to it where I have to be like, hey, it's been on the,
yeah,
it
I'm
is
really
so,
sorry.
it's so
Like, I would
easy.
love to be there, honey, but
Yeah. Yeah. It's so much easier
man,
to be like, it was on there in July.
yeah, I really messed up a few years ago, and even more comical that I wounded a giant deer and I didn't recover him. It's almost like God's way of being like, well, you're an asshole.
Mhm.
You shouldn't have done that. My daughter, I was struggling that year. I wasn't really struggling. I passed some good deer. Just wasn't seeing the deer that I wanted to see. And my buddy's like, hey, why don't you come to Indiana? It's opening weekend of rifle. And I was like, well, I don't want to kill a deer with a rifle. I just want to bow hunt. Well, you should bring your gun too. Okay. Well, I go in the woods with a bow, and a freaking giant, probably like, I'm going to just guess he was like a 150-inch 7-pointer, like just a magnum. Yeah, yeah. He had like a booner frame, dude, just a huge deer. And you know what? Like, and I'm not proud of this at all. And it really gave me a gut check. Like, it really did. I felt terrible. But there was a last minute father daughter dance that popped up, and I bailed on my daughter to go hunting. And I'm not proud of that. I'm not encouraging that. But like, there is some things that aren't near as important as hunting. For those of you guys that are dads out there, like, I mean, some of you guys might be judging me for that, and like rightfully so, but it was one of those things that just didn't work out, and I really upset my wife, and I upset my daughter, and I told her I would make it up to her, and I tried, and I did, but like I couldn't help sit in my tree stand and feel like an asshole. I was like, it just wasn't a good experience. And my buddy hounded me the entire time in deer camp that I should have taken a rifle. and his son hounding me like, "Oh, this fire is really nice." And I was like, "Yeah, it is." He's like, "You'd be a whole lot nicer with a giant buck hanging up, you know."
You could already be
I'm
almost
like,
home. You
"You're
could almost.
lucky that you're 10 years old, you little shit."
Oh man, yeah, dude. Same thing. I had a moment where it was this one was this was years ago. My daughter was like in a play. It was her first play she did, and she was just like on stage for like 2 minutes. She was like part of the ensemble, didn't have a role, wasn't
Yeah.
any, no speaking points, just get up on stage while the main people dance and do things. And she was dressed as like, it was the Peter Pan. I forget what, I don't even remember. I think she was just like a lost kid type of ordeal, like
Okay.
part of Neverland, a part of that scene. And I had the opportunity to go out to Montana to work a total archery challenge. And my wife always knew how bad I've always wanted to go out west, financially and all that type of stuff and obligations. We just never would be able to probably do it. And I kind of looked at it like, this might be my one chance I could ever see the Montana mountains. Like,
Yeah.
and unfortunately it fell on that weekend. And, my daughter understands now it's not that big of a deal, but dude, it's funny because she'll still throw a dig. She'll be like,
Yeah.
remember that time you missed my first play? And I'm like,
Uh-huh.
you know what I mean? I'm like, but
Oh yeah.
I said, did I miss one ever since? And will I ever miss one again? Absolutely not. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
feel like we all have those one moments where
Man, our kids are only this little for one time in their lives.
Yep.
I love the saying. It's like, you're lucky to have 18, seasons, with your kid, and then they grow up and they're gone and they're never the same. And in all reality, it's way more limited than that.
Yeah.
You've got between 4 years old and, realistically that they're going to remember between like 4 and maybe 13 or 14, like, especially for girls, because I feel like they kind of go through. And I
Yep.
really hope that that's not the case. Like, I try to do my best to be a great dad and like do as much as I can with my kids and be present and stuff like that. But it's the truth, man. Like, so especially if you've got young kids, I think it's even more important to make sure you don't miss those things, even if they are on November 1st. It is what it is. Like, guess what? When they grow up and you're an old guy, you're still going to be able to go get after deer all you want. So it's just, I don't know. You got to put things in perspective,
dude. And the day you're struggling or you're on your deathbed, man, she's not going to be, or he, your son or daughter, are not going to be like, he was a great deer hunter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they might, he was a great deer hunter, but man, he sucked as a dad, or he was a dick. I mean, that's not what I want to be known for.
You know what, Jeremy, I've really had a moment where I thought about that, and I'm like, if you really look at a lot of these guys that we really, really respect,
Right.
I hope nobody hounds me for this, but like, let's look at Bobby Worthington. Let's look at Andre DeQuisto. Let's look at Dan Infalt and all these other people that we really respect and we think are freaking awesome and incredible people. They missed out on their kids' childhood. You know what I mean? They missed out on a lot of things. And I know that I want to be remembered for being a great dad, not that, not like that's all my dad does is hunt,
Right. Yep.
And I know that they probably already look at it like that, but they can't say that because it's like, hey, if you have something, I'm going to be there for it.
Yep.
So something to consider. I wasn't trying. I had to touch on that. I don't know.
Dude, 100%.
It is. And I don't think many people really think about that, like in the grand scheme of things.
Well, dude, it goes back to what I was even mentioned, like within the first couple minutes of the podcast about us doing this, because we have this internal drive, right? We have this, it's a weird time in life for men and women, like wanting to do something. And I think of it for myself. I can never settle. I'm always, dude, like I know I have ADD 100%. I start a million projects and I finish one and that type of stuff. And I call it like that. I'm diagnosing myself with it. But we have this internal drive, this internal feeling of wanting to be successful and to do better and to do right. but it's so hard to manage that because of what expectations are put on, not only maybe for yourself, but from other people, right? Like you were just saying, like naming some great hunters.
It's highly successful people are all like that, man. Like
Yep.
90% of the time, we're not happy with what we have. And then 1% of the time or 5% of the time, like, hey, we did something and we get a hurrah moment. But then it's like, all right, what's next? You know
And
what I mean?
yep. And for individuals like yourself and I, where we have the family, we have young kids, hunting is not paying my bills. Hunting,
Right.
things that I'm doing, podcast things that I'm doing are not paying my bills. And they're things of enjoyment. And what I try to, I think what I could tell my wife is and I'll say, like, do you think I'm doing a good job at prioritizing, you and the family and everything compared to going out hunting? Like a couple of years ago, it would be, dude, every day after work, I would try to go out and do something or scout and blah, blah, blah. Dude, last year I went out after work one time and I had the most fun season 2 years in a row doing that. And
Yeah.
I hunted less, and
Mm-hmm.
my family's good. I'm mentally good. My friends are good. I could be a good sounding board for them when it comes to maybe life things, hunting things. So, I don't know where this kind of conversation started, but it just goes back to that whole, where you're at in the beginning with everything, wanting to do better, and just, it's okay to check yourself, and it's okay to fail, and it's okay to know that you may not be the best at something, whether it's being the best dad, being the best son, being the best hunter thing. Just work hard, and don't be afraid to reach out and like get help with like friends with that. You know what I mean? I'm not saying like
Yeah.
a therapist, like, yeah, if it's a therapist, if that's what it needs to be, but I'm saying like find that good support system, because once you do, man, I'm telling you, it is
Yeah.
enormous. Cause dude,
It is.
I it's huge.
I've got a couple people. I'm very fortunate that like I keep a small circle, but like at the same time, it's like I do have a couple really good friends that I can, that can check me too. It's
Mm-hmm,
like, all right, man, I understand, but quit being a little bitch
mm-hmm,
and keep
mm-hmm.
going.
Yep.
It's like it is, there's that side of things. But no, man, I love where your head's at. I think you're a great dad. I think you're a great hunter. It is what it is. And at the end of the day, like we really aren't like ever that satisfied with ourselves. We give ourselves a pat on the back here and there, but it's never enough.
Right.
I always am striving for better and better. But you know what? I think for me, especially, like I feel like I'm finally at that point in my life where I'm like I'm okay with where I'm at, and it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't matter to me. I don't need to be this person or I don't need to be that person. I need to be myself. And
Yep.
that's really, I think it's a great way to kind of put a cap on that, is like be the best version of yourself. And I think that's kind of my ethos that I've always wanted to do with my podcast, is more of the mindset stuff. And like,
Right.
yeah, I love hunting and I love, the tactical side of things and everything else, obviously, but I really want to help people grow as hunters and as people in general. So
Right.
that's I think,
Love it.
yeah, yeah,
Love it.
man.
It's tough. It's a tough thing to get there. But once you're there, just you'll just know. And oh man, I like I said, I some of even a couple of your friends are some of my buddies as well, and it's just this hunting genre and world that we're in, it's like a big dick swinging contest, and it
Oh yeah.
doesn't need to
But
be.
no, but you know what? I think it's maybe it's just me, but I'm starting to see a little bit of a shift.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm starting to see more people kind of like not be so concerned about like,
I agree.
am I killing a booner? Am I, whatever. You know what? I'm doing the best I can with what I got. And I've got friends of mine that are like, oh, I don't have any giants on camera this year. So what, dude? You're not going to have giants on camera every year.
Every year.
We are all dealt our own set of cards. So take them and deal with them, and have fun.
I'll tell you one last thing. Last year when I shot my buck in PA with my rifle, I shot it with my best friend standing at arm's reach to me.
Yeah.
And after I shot, he shot a doe. I mean, it was like, boom, my deer does a flip. And next thing you know, these deer get up and I'm like, he's like, I'm shooting that doe, running doe. He just boom, blasts her. These deer go down, falling down this little ridge. And my other best friend is down there packing out his good buck that he killed earlier in the morning up on his backpack. And he calls us, what the hell are you guys doing down there, man? Like, it's like, well, there's 2 deer dead right here. And we're like, yeah, we're just blasting away, having fun. Like,
That's awesome.
Justin, I'm telling you, man, like like we were giggling, we were laughing, just because of the way it worked out. And we were like high-fiving each other, just like, holy crap. And then here's the 3 of us in with backpack full of meat, antlers on our packs from Tim and I. And it was just so much fun. And we did it together. And what you were saying earlier about getting a hunt with some buddies on the calendar, I can't highly recommend that enough.
Yeah, those are what you're going to take with you, man. Those memories like that you'll never forget in your friends. So, yeah, make it happen. Yeah. I don't want to hear any excuses out of any of you. I know all of us have got at least one good hunting buddy. So, spend some time with him.
Make hunting fun again. That's the title of this one, man. Make hunting fun again.
I like it. Hey, you know what? I'm going to ask you 3 little rapid fire questions that I've been asking my guests lately.
Let's do it.
And you ready?
Yeah.
All right. What's your favorite broadhead?
Mini Mags by Grim Reaper.
Okay. What's your favorite song to head to the woods to, if you have one?
Ooh.
This season. Let's call it that.
For this season? Oh, man. I would have to go with, I'm going to go with it's called Tossing Feta by Tara Reid. It's like this. He's a white dude. He's a rapper. I could get pretty dark with some stuff, but it's and it's a good one. It fires me up. So that's what I'll be listening to get fired up going into the woods.
All right. Number 1, like, bucket list hunt. Money's not an option anywhere in the world.
I want to do a high country mule deer hunt and get a chance at a real nice mule deer. I don't care. I really don't care.
Okay. You just want to shoot a big one, like 30 inches inside.
Mm-hmm.
Big old double splits and whatnot.
Yeah. Yep. Not an elk. It's not an elk hunt. That elk hunt would be number 3. Number 2, like, I'd say 1A is that mule deer hunt. 1B is definitely my Iowa trip. Like, I can't wait for that.
Okay, cool. Well, yeah, man, make sure we'll definitely stay in touch, obviously. But yeah, if you come out this way, we'll definitely hook up.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. Well, dude, thank you so much for this. I feel like this was like a therapy session almost.
Yeah.
If I'm going to be honest with you.
Hopefully, dude. Hopefully, other people, man, could feel that same way. I mean, that's
I didn't know we were going to get this deep, but I think it was great. I hope you guys enjoyed it that are still listening. And on my side of things, I know me and Jeremy are doing a collab on this one. So if you're not following Antler Up Podcast, make sure you go check him out and follow along with Jeremy's stuff. He's doing some great content on the regular. So stay up to date. Make sure you're listening to him. And if you're listening from Jeremy's, hey, come check us out at the Running and Gunning Podcast. And we hope you have the best season ever. And keep us posted. Make sure you tag us and in your success.
Thanks again, man.
Absolutely. I'll catch up with you, man.
Sounds good.